Hey everybody, so in today's video I'm going to be doing something quite fun. This is going to be my soundtracking my novel video, and that novel is Mothwork, and so I actually mentioned that I was perhaps going to do a video like this, and I think my writing update, and I wasn't sure if anybody would want to see it, but the response was that people wanted to see it. However, I don't want to get copyrighted to the gods. I decided to record all of the songs myself. I will say, I'm not the best guitar player. I've been playing guitar for 5 years, and I feel like I should be better at guitar by this point. All of the covers are going to be performed by me, and if they're not, they'll be performed by Sarah, who I'll have linked in the description. She's my twin sister, so thanks so much to her. She did like half of the songs. I have a Spotify playlist, and I've had it for about 2 years now. It's for anything related to Mothwork, and Mothwork wasn't conceptualized until last year, but before then, I'd started writing some shippy stories with my boys Lonan and Harrison. I would compile tons of songs that I heard. If you want to hear the unabridged version of this video, listen to that playlist. It has every single song. I'm gonna leave that linked down below. It is a bit of a monster. I really tried to make this as diverse as possible because there's tons of different people who are going to be watching this video. But I'm going to be soundtracking it by chapter. So I'm going to quickly run through an explanation of all the songs I chose, for what chapters, and why I chose them. And then I'm going to let you listen to me attempting to play and then Sarah playing some of the songs. We're going to start off with a song that I cannot play, and so I'm just going to play it because I don't think I'm gonna get copyrighted. So the first song is going to be for chapter 1, which is called False Idol, and that's going to be My Nights Are More Beautiful Than Your Days by Current Joys. And it was really hard for me to soundtrack this first chapter. It doesn't really have that much of a vibe, to be honest, but I think this song sort of captures it. This is False Idol.
I'm getting sick of just about everything. It's not
So chapter 2 is called Mothwork. It's the title chapter, and the song for Mothwork chapter 2 is going to be July by Noah Cyrus. I really like the song. I think my sister Sarah started playing it a lot, and you're gonna get to hear her play it on the guitar because I don't know how to play it, but she does. And this song is like really relevant. Like, it's very relevant to the state of the relationship between the boys at this point in the book. It's quite rocky, especially for Harrison. He's not feeling like he's having much of a emotionally equal relationship. A lot of the burdens of their relationship and their problems are put onto him, and so he struggles because Lonan doesn't really contribute to their relationship as much as he does, and it's really getting to him. So this song lyrically is very relevant, and I love the melody of this one. I think it has that sort of delicate cabin vibe that I was going for, which is why I really like this one. So without further ado, here's Sarah playing July for chapter 2, Mothwork. So for chapter 3, which is Optical Illusion, I chose Some Kind of Love by The Killers. So funny thing, I was at my co-op, which was many years ago. I heard this song come on. I was shook. I got up from what I was doing. I went to go see what the song was. It was Some Kind of Love by The Killers, and I really like this song. This was kind of my original, this is the boys, this is their original ship song, and this is the only good chapter in the book. It kind of ends a bit badly, because why wouldn't it? But it's the only like sweet cutesy chapter, and so I wanted to give a little romantical moment song. Lonan, obviously, if you don't know, struggles a lot with his mental health, and especially in Mothwork, he's really struggling to understand how he feels about his dad, about his past, and so because of that he has a lot of mental health issues, and Harrison really desperately wants to help him, and he knows that he wouldn't be the same person he would be if Lonan wasn't with him, and he is trying to tell him that, and that's kind of the message. Here is Sarah playing Some Kind of Love because I couldn't figure out those chords. But this is for chapter 3, Optical Illusion, Some Kind of Love by The Killers. So for chapter 4, Animal Instinct, I chose Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, and Billie Eilish is one of my new favorite artists ever. Like, I spontaneously bought her album because I just adore her music recently, like about a month and a half ago, and I've known about Billie Eilish since I was 14, but I didn't really listen to her music because it wasn't really my style then, but I just love her voice, and I love that she makes music with her brother. This song is like too relevant for this chapter. This is Lonan trying to be the bad guy. Like the meaning, like what Billie's trying to say about like, so you're a tough guy, like this, that's Lonan in this chapter, but this song fits it really well. I was listening to it and I was like, oh, this would be perfect for chapter 4 for my soundtrack video. And so here's Sarah playing Bad Guy on the guitar. It's really cool. I don't know how to play this. I don't know how she played it, but this is Bad Guy by Billie Eilish for chapter 4, Animal Instinct. And so chapter 5, Dead Disco, is the last chapter in Harrison's point of view, and so I chose I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston, and a lot of Whitney on my giant playlist, which I'll link. Harrison is a very like 80s kind of music guy, 80s and 90s. He's a lot of throwbacks on his playlist. This is very relevant. So what happens in this chapter is the boys split up for like the first time in a very long time, which is very needed. And Harrison meets this boy named Jeremiah and ends up going back to his apartment. And he has a disco ball like in his living room, which I have a disco ball right up there. So, you know, gotta plug myself in my book. And him and Jeremiah dance. And it's basically Harrison being a sad boy because Lonan isn't the person that's like, who wants to dance with him. Harrison is almost asking like, oh, I want to dance with somebody who loves me. So this is Sarah again playing I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston for chapter 5, Dead Disco. And so chapter 6 marks the jump into Lonan's point of view for the first time. That chapter is called Holy Queen. So for Holy Queen, I chose the song Excuse Me by Nothing But Thieves, and this song basically inspired all of Moth's work. I wouldn't have written Moth work and made Moth work as long as it was if it wasn't for the song. I was listening to it and I got a very visceral idea of what would happen, and it was basically this exact scene in Holy Queen. And the reason why I chose it is because there's some lyrics like, excuse me while I run, I really gotta get out of here. That's Lonan. He always runs away from his problems, and in this particular scene, that's what he's doing. He's dissociated, so he doesn't know that's what he's doing, but it's basically this song to a T. So this song is major for Moth work. So this is going to be me from last year, and you can tell because my hair isn't blue anymore. This is me playing Excuse Me on the piano. Right now I'm in quarantine, so it's really hard for me to record. My piano's in my living room, and so I don't want to be recording while my family's like working or whatever. It's kind of hard. My house is very busy. I have like 7 people living here and a dog, so I found a video of me playing it from last year and it sounds fine. So this is Excuse Me by Nothing But Thieves for chapter 6, Holy Queen. And so for chapter 7, Paper Mouth, I'm choosing All Is Lost by Surf Curse, and this one kind of was difficult also for me to soundtrack, but we kind of hit a low point for Lonan. Up until then, he's the bad guy. He thinks he is. But here he really, really gets vulnerable, and I love Lonan when he gets vulnerable. I'm kind of an asshole to him. He's really not as bad as I make him seem to be. He's a very sweet person, and you can really see that come out here, and he does a lot of bad things to Harrison and makes a lot of mistakes and says a lot of bad things, but to his core, he doesn't mean to hurt the people around him. He should still be accountable, but he doesn't mean to, and so I think here he kind of hits a wall because he realizes, wow, I took the one person who really cared about me for granted, and I have nothing anymore. I got nothing. I have nobody here. And so this is the chapter where he's introduced to Eliza, who plays a key role in the rest of the book. All Is Lost is basically, the title sums it up. That's how he feels at this point. So this is going to be Sarah playing All Is Lost. It's like Sarah's played like all the songs so far, but this is Sarah playing All Is Lost by Surf Curse for chapter 7, Paper Mouth. And so for chapter 8, Opera Game, I chose I Was Just a Kid by Nothing But Thieves. Again, this song explicitly inspired events of this story. This one in particular I think is really relevant because Lonan goes through his backstory with Eliza for the first time. They meet each other and sort of instantly create this bizarre connection, and she knew his father. She's his dad's ex. I'm just saying, that's the tea. That's the tea. I'm gonna expose her. She's his dad's ex. And he didn't have a good relationship with his father. It was very abusive, and so this is very difficult for both of them because it was also not the best relationship for her, but she doesn't realize it. Very much sums up how Lonan feels. I love this song a lot. Can I play it well? Not really. Did I try? Yes, I did. I've been trying to play this song for a year, and I just can't move my fingers very quickly on the guitar, so I tried my best. It's not as fast as the original, but this is going to be I Was Just a Kid, played by me for Chapter 8, Opera Game. And now for chapter 9, Beautiful Place, I knew instantly what song was going to be this song because I wrote this entire chapter just listening to that one song on repeat like 500,000 times, and Beautiful Place is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful chapter, and the beauty is kind of surreal because it is. It's not really true. Beautiful Place is where Lonan and Eliza go to a beach, and at the beach there's this cove, and that's the beautiful place, this cove that's sort of overlooking the shore, and it's very pretty. And this is where their relationship intensified. They only know each other for a few days by the time they get very much intertwined, which says something about the nature of their relationship. It's not the healthiest, but Lonan doesn't really know that. He's not trying to be destructive, and it's not really him, it's more Eliza. However, this is kind of the sweetest point, I think, of their relationship, at least in this book. We sort of see that romantic side develop just a little bit. Eliza's almost a caregiver for Lonan, so let's not talk about the ethics of that. But at the same time, they have this sort of romantic relationship that blooms a little bit in this chapter. Not in the best ways, I will say that. For this chapter, I chose Lover You Should Have Come Over by Jeff Buckley. Particularly, I listened to the Nothing But Thieves cover, but the original is absolutely stunning. I'm gonna link both, but this song is so pretty. I love it so much. And it has this delicacy that I think this chapter has, and it mimics the tone very well. I really like it, and I really like what this song helped me do and helped me hone into with this relationship in particular is very important. So this is going to be me playing Lover You Should Have Come Over by Jeff Buckley, cover by Nothing But Thieves for Chapter 9, Beautiful Place. Now for chapter 10, Housefire, I chose Bloodstream by Ed Sheeran. So I used to be a really big Ed Sheeran fan when I was 13 to 15, I would say, which is where this little portrait thing came from. Sarah painted that on our wall. It's not a sticker, it's there, and there's a little multiply up there, and on the other side there's a plus. I was a really big Ed Sheeran fan. And multiply is where Bloodstream comes off of, and I was so lucky to see this song live, I think twice. So Housefire is where things are kind of going wrong, and the lyrics are ridiculously accurate. So if you read the lyrics of this song, that is what happens in this chapter. Eliza and Lonan are both under the influence. They've only known each other for like 1.5 days, and so many things have happened. And essentially, Lonan loses Harrison's 2 prized possessions in chapter 6 because of a lot of reasons, but essentially he gets Harrison's leather jacket and Harrison's guardian angel chain stolen. And that kind of, first of all, broke my heart. The chain wasn't really introduced until Moth work, but Harrison has had that leather jacket since I was 13. I'm 18 now, so I was like, boy, how did you lose that jacket? I know I did that, but like, I didn't. He did it, you know what I'm saying? Lonan loses the jacket, and so they come across the house of the person who lives there, and Lonan tries to steal it back, and he wants to, but somehow between getting out of the car and trying to get at the house, something happens in his brain, and Eliza's the person who's going in there, and it doesn't end well read the lyrics to the song. They're super accurate. That's exactly what happens. I'm not going to say anything else because I'm trying to keep it PG, but that's what happens. And so this is Sarah playing Bloodstream by Ed Sheeran for Chapter 10, House Fire. All of these chapters basically have writing updates. A few of them at the end, like 4 of them don't, but I will write them. So I will link every single writing update in the description if you want more information on these chapters so that you have a little bit more context about the song that goes with them. So for chapter 11, which is Good Eyes, I chose Human by Daughter. And when I found this song, it took me so long to soundtrack this book. When I found this song, it was a eureka moment because it is exactly this chapter. So Good Eyes is the first chapter where Lonan kind of is like a real human being. Like, I think he is authentically himself, which is very quiet. He doesn't speak very much. He meets Harrison's mother, who's been estranged from Harrison for basically his entire life. They, by fluke, kind of run into each other, and she's the first person who kind of treats him like a human being. Like, you'd think Eliza would be doing that. Eliza's a piece of work, I will say that. But anyway, that's tea for another day. Suze, which is Harrison's mother, makes Lonan feel like a human, and I think the lyrics are also super relevant in this song to how he feels, and I was really excited to find this one because it's kind of pure. It's a little bit soft. He is a soft boy, even though I kind of describe him as not. He's very soft. He tries not to be, but like he's super soft. So this is me playing Human by Daughter for chapter 11, Good Eyes. So for chapter 12, this is the chapter we jump back into Harrison's point of view. This is how we finish the book in his head. And so for chapter 12, he ends up meeting up with Lonan. He goes to Eliza's apartment, and he's not really expecting the change between Lonan and Eliza's relationship because it's weird. And he knows that. And Razor Blade by The Strokes is a really salty song. I can't play Razor Blade. I'm gonna put like 2 seconds of it. But this song is very relevant. This is Harrison calling Eliza out on her bullshit. So this is Razor Blade by The Strokes for chapter 12, Teeth Marks. So for chapter 13, which is Empty Nest, I chose I Love You by Billie Eilish. So this is kind of fake news. I wrote this chapter to When the Party's Over, but then I wrote like the last like few sentences to I Love You, and I was like, this is so relevant. I hadn't really listened to the song up until then. It was probably my first or second time listening to it while I was writing that chapter. And it was such an experience, and this song is very relevant, I think. Everything in this video is relevant, but this song in particular sort of puts into words how both of these people feel about their relationship, and Empty Nest is particularly about Harrison's mother. So it kind of works for that, but then it also ends with a nice scene between Lonan and Harrison, which is again probably one of the only nicer moments that we get to see on the page between them, and I think this Billie Eilish song really encapsulates that. So this is me playing I Love You by Billie Eilish for chapter 13, Empty Nest. And so for chapter 14, Picking Ritual, I chose Modern Girls and Old-Fashioned Men by The Strokes because this is Harrison salting to the extreme at Eliza, and this song is very salty. It is like a kind of a conversation between a man and a woman. It's a duet. It has a bit of that argumentative quality that this chapter has. Essentially, Harrison is again extremely calling Eliza out on her bullshit, and I think this has the saltiness that I needed for this chapter. And so this is Modern Girls and Old-Fashioned Men by The Strokes for chapter 14, Picking Ritual. So for chapter 15, which is the last chapter in this book, I chose When We Were Young by Adele. It's like very relevant. It covers kind of how the book ends. So if you want to spoil it yourself, that kind of is what happens. I will probably expose that in a writing update when I write that writing update anyway. So if you want to find out what happens in that chapter, keep updated on the description box and I'll have that down below. But When We Were Young by Adele has been very relevant to this book for a while now, and I think it matches the tone of the end of this book quite well. And the chapter is called Summon Away, which was actually inspired by a different song, which is Tempt You Evocation, I don't know, by Nothing But Thieves. And so that's what an evocation is. Evocation? I don't know. To summon away, apparently, according to Google. However, I think that When We Were Young sort of fits the sweeping nature, the drama. It has some drama that the last chapter has. And so this is going to be me playing When We Were Young by Adele for chapter 15, Summon Away. And so for the ending credit song, because I thought it was only fair to have an ending credit song, I chose Someone Like You by Adele, because why not end on two Adeles? Because that'll only break your heart. This is so relevant. Like, the lyrics are so relevant to how Harrison feels. Like, this is exactly what happens. I did not realize I wrote Someone Like You fanfiction, but like, this is exactly what happens when he jumped, like when we jump back into his point of view a few chapters back. He kind of appears, not realizing things had changed. And, you know, there's the drama there, the drama that we all need. And the book kind of ends off on not the most satisfying note. This is Sarah also playing Someone Like You by Adele for the ending credits of Moth work. And so that brings us to the end of this video. It has been a video in the making, so I hope you guys liked it. I'm going to roll the rest of When We Were Young just to have some nostalgic b-roll at the end of this video. Thank you to the people who said they wanted to see this. I hope that this was satisfying. That is what I'm going to call the official soundtrack for all 15 chapters of Moth work. If you have any favorite songs from this list, or you know any of them, or you have a soundtrack for your own book or a theme song for your own book, let me know in the comments. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!